But the British immigration problem, the demographic change, is just fundamentally the responsibility of London. And if anything, hordes of Poles and Germans or Italians or whatever improved matters in terms of the racial decomposition of Britain. And it's just a fact. So we have this situation very much like Trump, in which all of these people are feeling these natural, healthy anxieties about what's happening, that they're being transformed. And they project the problem onto Brussels. But if you listen to the explicit language of the Brexiteers, they are going to bring in more people from the global south. I have never heard a Brexit. They might talk about, the EU and 2015 migration, but that's all a sham. They ultimately want greater integration with the global world, and they want more migration. Boris Johnson bringing in more Africans. He's reducing the criterion, I believe, for entrance. If you listen to these people like Daniel Hannan, who is a EU parliamentarian, he was a journalist and is this kind of a Marophile, whatever the word is, British politician and thinker, he said explicitly, this is not about racial nationalism. This is about getting out of the stodgy, continental, Germanic EU and entering into a global market with, I guess, former British colonies and bringing them in. It's about becoming more American. And so it's something we see all the time on the right, which is bait and switch. I think most of the people who voted for Brexit are people who have, healthy instincts. But I think they're a bit diluted. All of those Pakistanis in London, all of those, Muslims engaging in rape gangs in Rotherham and similar places, they're not exiting through that door that was set up on the Dover Cliffs. They are staying put. And if anything, their national identity is becoming kind of more firm by this decision. So I just see the same dynamic that you see with Republican electioneering taking place with Brexit. And so I've classified myself previously as a Eurosceptic skeptic. In the sense that I'm skeptical of the Farage types, the Daniel Hannan types, and so on. But I would say, perhaps I should come out of the closet, as it were, in the sense that I think people like Oswald Mosley were right when immediately after the Second World War, they recognized the geopolitics at play. They obviously recognized the genetic or racial dynamics at play. And they said firmly, Europe a nation. We can keep our cultural, linguistic, peculiar identity. I think that's great, and everyone should strive to be kind of individualistic on a national sense like that. But in terms of geopolitics and in terms of the real dynamic of the 21st century, which is race, it's Europe a nation. And I'm not, I hope the English stay English, but, an Englishman taking an Italian wife and having children that are kind of a little bit mixed blood to a certain degree and kind of mixed culturally. Is this really the problem, that we're facing today? Is this an existential crisis? Clearly, no.